welcome to What's in Your iPad. We got a special guest today. Vortex is in the building. Vortex.
So first of all, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I've been following all of you guys for a long time now, like years pretty much. So really, really appreciate it. Definitely humbled to be here and really appreciate it. Like I go by the pseudonym Vortex, and I created a company called Mobile Music Pro, and it's a YouTube channel that is essentially creating resources and information for mobile music producers.
All right. So now for some music. You were briefly going into some of your musical past, but the first question I have is like, what really, like you were saying, you know, your family was into music. You said your grandfather was a singer?
So I'm actually a third generation musician. So yeah, so both my dad and my grandfather sung and played the guitar.
Cool. So that's where your love started, like it started with them?
I believe that's where it did, because my dad was playing songs to me on the guitar when I was young. And so I think that's really where my love of music started. Like it was a combination of him playing songs on his guitar and then playing music on his big stereo. So I remember listening to, you know, all the Tom Petty stuff and a lot of the classic rock stuff, of course. So that stuff. And then he would even play like movie scores for like Top Gun. The Top Gun theme on his guitar was like my favorite thing for him to play when I was. He would play that for me when I think to get me to go to bed when I was young. I think because it was just so freaking awesome. Like that song of I love that freaking that theme.
Soundtracks are the best.
Yeah, they're so good. I love soundtracks. So I definitely I think I fell in love with music at an early age, probably around 3, 4, 5 for sure.
Well, when did you know, like, I want to start like producing and making music myself?
Sure. So essentially, you know, maybe you guys know or have heard of Braille Audio. He's the other partner on Mobile Music Pro, where he helps us with sample packs. And I've spoken. I try to definitely rep him a lot in my media and my advertising and things like that, because I really believe in a lot of his work, and he's been doing this for so long, 20 plus years, you know. So Blind is the name of that producer from Braille Audio, and I think it really actual production goes back with him, because he was doing this stuff when we were in high school. And I was more into software development, more into programming at that point. So he, when I saw him doing what he could do with, you know, on these early programs, I was just fascinated. I was absolutely fascinated with it. I thought that was amazing, the technology that you could use to produce music, all of these different instruments, all on one screen, all with one keyboard, like that absolutely really struck a chord with me. But at the same time, I knew people that were programmers that were making a decent amount of money. So so of course, that's kind of what then took my, because at my heart, really, I'm just a geek. So, you know, video games, programming, music production, all that good stuff. I just love it all. And so pretty much any one of those could have taken me on a direction,
Right.
but really it was software development that kind of took over my interest, and from after high school immediately. And I did that for 15 plus years. Now, back in 2012, though, 2013 came along the iPad. I got an iPad. And I got the iPad mini just for playing video games. I'm like, I'll just check out the mobile gaming scene, see what's going on. And I saw that you could download a synthesizer. And so I downloaded this synthesizer, and I was blown away, the synthesizer app, that I was just absolutely fascinated, because here was this amazing sounding instrument that was, I didn't have to open up a DAW. I didn't have to configure anything. I always thought that to do this stuff, I would have to have a DAW and configure all this craziness, because I saw what my friend Blind was doing over there with his Star Trek, you know, like console of equipment, of hardware and hardware synths and all these things. I'm like, that's music production. Okay, I understand. But then I downloaded this app, and here I am playing the synthesizer with all these amazing presets, with no DAW, no configuration, nothing. Just had to download, and it was free. It was a free synth. So I wish I could remember the name of it, what it was at the time, but it's no longer in the App Store, unfortunately. But it was a completely free synth, and it blew me away. And that is what got me into music production. The idea that I could do music production without a Star Trek console that you see, the idea that I could do that just on my own iOS device absolutely just floored me, and I was hooked ever since. So starting in 2013, when I got that iPad mini, that's where I got hooked on music production and the thought of actually producing music, and then just took it from there. Basically took a few courses. You know, I was asking my friend Blind questions, and work at night when I would come home from my software development job, I would play on the iPad and try to make music. So that's really 2013 is when I actually started learning how to produce music.
That's pretty.
And then, and then finally in 2019, I made the leap to leave my day job of software development and just do Mobile Music Pro, just do music full time. So that's what I'm doing now, is basically Mobile Music Pro is my full-time job, and that's what I'm trying to do, just try to help as many producers as we can. And yeah, I just went all in with Mobile Music Pro, because what I've become fascinated with is, in addition to the iPad for music making, was kind of like the marketing of let's see, how can I explain the marketing of these new sample packs and the marketing of all these products. And so I fell in love with sample packs shortly after I fell in love with music production, because again, my friend Blind was making these, and he showed me some of these early sound packs, and I was just blown away with some of the sounds that I could just drag and drop them into my music program. So that's where I became fascinated with samples. And then for a couple of years between 2017 and 2019, I was watching Cymatics. I was watching Larry O. I was watching Curtis King, and all these people create entire brands around helping people produce music. BusyWorks Beats as well as one of my North Stars as well for Mobile Music Pro. So I saw these people that were creating all this content, creating all these products, helping all these people, and I'm like, man, that's what I really want to do. Because if I'm going to do music, I don't want to just do music in my bedroom and then just put it out and then to all the different platforms and just and not really help anybody per se. I've always wanted to help people, and I think that this is one of the greatest. YouTube is one of the greatest platforms to be able to help people. So I fell in love with what Cymatics was doing and BusyWorks Beats, and I thought maybe I wanted to combine essentially those companies, combine BusyWorks Beats, the courses and the tutorials, with the sample packs and music technology of Cymatics, and bring that down specifically in the mobile music production, the iOS space. And so I thought that was something that could be pretty unique. And so that's what I went in full on with Mobile Music Pro. It took a couple of years of planning and thinking of what I wanted to do, but it finally all distilled and crystallized in 2019. And that's when I made Mobile Music Pro happen.
That's what's up.
I was thinking about years thinking about what do I want to do in music specifically.
Yeah, well, I commend you on taking that leap and going ahead for that shit. Like, that reminds me of my man Mickey Fax. I remember when he quit, like, he had this great job and he just quit that shit. Like, I'm just gonna fucking rap. And he went head first into that shit, doing that shit. I was like, all right, you gotta respect it.
Like, I pretty much went head first. Like I had a following, I had a pretty big following on Twitter, 50,000 plus people. I had
that's
my YouTube
crazy
channel.
That you just stop.
I had all my clients from years for software development, but at the end of the day, like, none of it was making me happy. Music is the only thing that really ever made me happy. Music and helping people. Music and helping people. So combining those two things now is definitely everything that you could ever imagine about the phrase "following your dreams." That's what it is for me.
Yeah, because if you're doing something that you're just not happy doing, it'll be just miserable. Your whole life would be miserable.
Let me tell you, software development plus economics and finance, you do want to blow your brains out every single night when you get home.
Yeah.
I didn't even have the energy to play video games anymore. It was pretty sad. It was pretty sad. I got pretty bored. I mean, I tried hard and I did well, but after 15 plus years and 10 years in 15, 16 plus years of software development and 7, 8, 9 years in Bitcoin, I'm like, I think it's finally time to pursue my music dreams.
That's what's up. So, top 5 favorite apps to make music with. Well, actually, not just music, anything, because people bring up art apps and everything. So
yeah, it's amazing how many apps, of course, that you guys talk about all the time. It's amazing how many apps there are on the App Store. I mean, you can do anything from video production to music production to graphics to photography. You can do it all these days. And relatively speaking, the iPad is still pretty slow compared to desktops. And they're fixing that really fast. Every couple of years, they double, quadruple the speed. And now the next iPads is rumored to be as fast as the M1 chips, or similar around, right around on par to the M1 chips coming for the next A14 X chip. So we're closing the gap really quickly. But as far as music production apps, I don't really do anything on the iPad except music production. Actually, I don't really do any. I mostly use my big PC with a big, huge couple of monitors that I'm used to. But I still love, though, even though it's on a smaller screen on the iPad, I still love producing music on there because of the experience and the software. Because we already had a mobile revolution with laptops. I kind of already had that, but this new mobile revolution with the iPad is a revolution in not just hardware, but software and the experience of that as well. So now, instead of, the laptop is just copying the desktop, about the same thing, same software, but the iPad, now you can do touch things, you can do all sorts of different, gestures. And so it is really a whole new mobile revolution in hardware and software. But in addition to that, yeah, so I guess I went off on a tangent there, but I just wanted to make that
It's cool.
clear that that's pretty fascinating. That's where we are in the iPad. So you can do a lot of stuff, but there's so much more coming, guys. We're just scratching the surface. This
Oh
decade
yeah, hell
is
yeah.
gonna be so amazing for iPad. But so for my top music apps that I use are, of course, Cubasis. That's the DAW that I like to teach, like to create all my tutorials in. Cubasis 3, Cubasis 2, and Cubasis 3 are both great DAWs. And then let's see. Oh man, Perforator. Got to have my Perforator for different synths and different instruments. That it's a gating app, and so it really is like one of the easiest to use gating apps with the best presets out there to be able to come up with all the standard that you need for EDM and even trap. A bunch of great gating presets for trap that you can really stutter that melody right before a clap or right before the end of the 4-bar sequence. Perforator, Cubasis 3, and then oh man, Mixbox.
Yeah.
This box is
Mixbox.
great.
Yeah.
I've been falling in love with Mixbox, and specifically the dynamics processors in there are just, I mean, like, again, like this is like, for me, I never really went to desktop revolution. So music production. So I never got to experience these amazing things that have already been on desktop for years and years, like these, basically $10,000 plus machines that's the price in physical if you were to physically buy these things. But man, just to have access to those now in Mixbox, that was only access on desktop before, that's just truly amazing. I got to experience that for the first time because, again, I never went through the desktop music production. So being able to hear those compressors, oh my God, the same compressor that most of the Beatles albums were mixed in, that was that was a treat. So Mixbox, definitely have to say Mixbox. So it's number 3. Oh, I should pull up my phone. Let's see, just to make sure, because I have so many apps. I do top 5 videos all the time too, so I'm always playing it with a ton of different apps. It's crazy. Whoops, let me close that. A lot of the audio damage apps I use for effects, they have a lot of great stuff in there. Specifically the EOS, or I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but that is for their reverb, the audio damage reverb. I use that all the time. The audio damage reverb, really, really great.
Yeah, I use
And then
they make Fuzz Plus 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
absolutely fantastic app. And then
they
Effectrix.
got some good apps. Yeah, Effectrix is great.
Oh god, Effectrix is so great because I mean you could make anything sound hip hop pretty much with Effectrix. Like anything. It doesn't matter what the melody or the piano. Like you just throw a couple of Effectrix on there, and bam, it sounds hip hop. Like you could just throw a tape stop on there, or you could throw a couple of the effects that they have on there, some slowdown, some timing, different effects, and kind of get a halftime effect. You can do so many things with Effectrix. So I would say that's number 4 for sure. Boy, let me see. What's number 5? I have so many. I'm really thinking carefully on what I want to say. Let me see. Let me check.
Well, shit. Go ahead. If you got 7 favorite apps, go ahead and say it. Shit. Is that all right?
right. Let me see here. I know what I'm gonna do. Okay. Oh well, recently I'll tell you. Flux Mini. Recently, Flux Mini has replaced like my side chaining apps. I've been using because the presets on Flux Mini. It's a completely free app from.
It's free.
Free.
Bro, I'm so out the loop lately. I need to get my life. I'm going to get that right now
because the side chaining presets. Oh my goodness! And you could draw the ADSR right in with the shape. You can draw it right in there instead of like using dials. You can just draw it right in there. Whatever shape you want. And oh man, that makes for amazingly unique sounding side chains. Because if you just move it a little bit to the right, it sounds like a side chain that nobody else does. Or that
why haven't I gotten this yet?
Oh, so it's
what is wrong with me?
Yeah, see, I got it. I didn't use it that much, but it sounds like LFO tool.
Yeah, it's basically an LFO tool. It's our LFO tool that we have, but unfortunately, it's not quite as good as that because it can't do just like I'm trying to think. It still has to have that loop. It still has to loop. It still loops. So if you could just have if you could have that Flux Mini without that damn looping, without it looping automatically, it could be an LFO tool. And that would be amazing because we don't have any damn LFO tools right now, really, on iOS. And that's a darn shame. Somebody needs to make an LFO tool. Really would like that. But Flux Mini is like that LFO tool for side chaining and for gating, I guess you could say as well, like pretty much any type of effect, spacing like effect that you want to put on there. It's really great. Dope. Flux Mini. Love Flux. And it's free. I can't believe it. From Camel Audio. How do you pronounce it? Camel Audio or Camel Audio? But, they just recently released Schlap. for drums, and
Oh
then
yeah, I got
Smooth,
that, but I
two
didn't play
different
with that
compressors,
yet.
slap and Smooth, and both of them are great.
Okay. I didn't see the smooth one. I saw the slap one.
Yep, they got the Smooth one that just came out, so that's for like vocals, much more of a smoother, gentler compressor. Where the Schlap is for just slap that on
Oh
drums.
yeah,
and just make
Callum
your cake.
Audio, Cadmium.
I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce half these companies.
Yeah,
I try.
same.
I use that,
That's probably top 5.
the tape. Was it the tape one that they have?
Yeah, they
Tape
have
Pro.
Tape Pro and Tape
Oh,
Cassette
Tape
too.
Pro. Yeah, Tape Pro and Tape Cassette.
I have the original one. That's the one with the orange background, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tape
That's
Cassette,
the
yeah.
first one.
That saturation on that, I kid you not. Like I kid you not. You take that saturation, you put it on like your drums, like you're good. Like you you don't even need to put that much. It's just enough to just beef it up just a little bit.
It's funny. I use that sometimes, the Tape Pro, over even some of the more major tools out there, like Saturn. Like I use it even Saturn. And Saturn I use for a lot of saturation, but
You know what's
Yeah,
crazy?
that's
Those who makes the Saturn? Because that's by
Fab Filter.
I want to get those, but I'm like, I don't want to spend the money on those. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even like that. Like, I can't get it or anything like that. It's like, I'm like iOS has me so spoiled because I have tools that can do like what that can do at a fraction of that price. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
It's true.
I'm not gonna
but
fix it.
yeah,
It's true.
It
But
is
here's the thing
true.
about Fab Filter. Here's what they have. Ready? That I found that the other apps don't have. They're freaking presets, dude. They're freaking
They
a
have
sheer
great presets.
number of amazing presets. Makes the damn price worth it alone. Literally, all the presets on every Fab Filter plugin is just incredible. The sheer amount of presets, usable presets, is just kills all the competition. And I love using cheaper apps as well, especially with simpler workflows and things like that. But sometimes they lock you in with those presets, man. When you start using them and you start getting used to them, and they start sounding really good across all the different
it's
monitors.
true, because I don't fuck with presets normally, but I always, with the Fab Filters, I go into a preset. There's a few that I always go into, and then I tweak, and I know exactly how to tweak those to get it sounding the way I want it.
When it comes to mixing presets, like, it's definitely good for novice producers to use presets for mixing, when it comes to mixing, because it's hard to be able to understand where all these frequencies are supposed to be able to going in. But when it comes to, when it comes to like synths and stuff like that, yeah, it's usually more fun just to start out with a blank one and start tweaking yourself. But when it comes to mixing, man, I don't mess too much with that. I try to make sure that I use mostly presets for my mixing stuff and just tweak them a little bit when I need to. For everything else though, I'm definitely all about customization. It's just mixing. I don't know, maybe it's a fear that I have, because it gets so complex in there.
I'm not going to say it's not complex. It mixes definitely. It has its parts, but like there's like the same way people can make presets for all these great apps. Like once you find something that kind of works for you,
that's what it is.
Because that's what I do. Like so, like for example, it's like gain staging and stuff like that. So I have like a way that I always set things up. You know what I mean? And so it's like, so that way there's always enough headroom. You know what I mean? And then certain things get cut at a certain frequency. So like the bass has room, and then certain things get cut. So sometimes like eventually like you find your own just like
your own way, I guess.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I like that because it kind of it gives everybody their own like their own sound, because the way you might like your bass mix might be different than the way I like my bass.
Yep, that's true.
I might like mine just a little. Like I know me personally, I love for all my sound sources to be a little bit dirty before they get into the computer.
Yep.
Once they're in the computer, it's like, shiny. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like if I can like dirty them up before that, like I can get that nice gritty quality that I want, and then I can do anything I want in the computer, because it's always, once it gets to give me that one quality outside, that particular sound is always going to sound like that. It's like a complete recreation of it, so I don't have to worry about that. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, and it especially gets easier with time, of course, for sure. And you start learning what you like and everything like that. For me, I guess I meant more like sounding correct on multiple systems and stuff like that. Because I feel like if I use this wrong preset, oh man, because I've done it before where I've tried these different presets and I tried the mix across a couple different speakers, and it sounded completely different and bad, horrible compared to my Fab Filter presets. I'm like, I'm scared. I'm going back to Fab
You know what's good for that? I'm gonna tell you right now what's good for that. Final Touch.
Yeah, Final Touch is great.
Because Final Touch is the only thing that has that setting that you could go in there and see how it's going to sound within the iTunes set. You know how when iTunes processes, it changes. But you can click that and click over to see how your shit is going to sound with that processing effect.
Interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
that's one of the most slept on. Yeah. That's one of the most slept on apps out there. That thing is so powerful. And I have Fab Filter, but I always go to Final Touch for everything. Everything. And they need
to make that
AUV3.
Too. Yeah, they got amazing presets. I definitely check that out for sure. Of course, it's from a legendary creator. So, but yeah, the presets on there are awesome. Man,
I'm not mad that it's not AUV3 though, only because it's like I'm not mad because to me it's just like its own entity. Like I know when I go in there, that's a whole that's like a DAW, a DAW almost. Like I know that's a standalone, and I use that to mix and clean and do certain things in there, and then I'm gonna import that shit right out. So
it kind of
as long as I could use it.
Kind of forces you to get to that final point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't use this until you finish. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is too. Yeah.
Creating that specific mastering workflow. That's probably a better idea than trying to mix it all together and things, or trying to master it with a project when it's still in your regular DAW. It's the mastering presets in Cubase's 3 that they released is actually pretty decent too. They released a mastering plugin default on the mastering track inside of Cubase's 3 with their update, and that mastering tool actually works pretty good, but it still doesn't get quite the way I want it that Fab Filter does. And so it really is so interesting how just the little tiniest changes and it sounds different. It's just pretty amazing how all these different apps have their own unique sound.
Too, like now that you mentioned presets, I remember because this is back in probably 2004, 2005 or something like that, back when the Mbox came out or whatever. So it came with Pro Tools came with all these EQs, and all those EQs came with different presets, and so it would have different presets. I remember one preset was phone EQ, and you put it on, and immediately when you talk through it, it sounded like everything was coming through the phone. So one day I literally just sat down and copied every single one, by hand, and I still have this notebook. It has all these EQ settings and stuff like that.
That's epic.
And it works across, because it's just frequencies and decibels. You know what I mean?
Yep. DeFingis, Marcus DeFingis, he copied the bass augmentation preset, the bass augmentation EQ preset in Cubase's 3. He copied that over the exact settings over for Beatmaker 3. So now and created his own preset. So now he's using that bass augmentation preset in Beatmaker 3.
I have a plugin. I have a preset in Beatmaker 3 that I made, which is basically it's like a Pultec EQ. You know what I mean? So,
you sent me that shit.
Yeah, and you can adjust it and with the macros and stuff like that, you can turn it up so it just it gives you that boost and attenuation at the same time. You know what I mean?
Wow.
You can all these different things, they all if you same way you go in the rabbit hole for Bitcoin, I'm telling you, if you go in a rabbit hole for doing and stuff like that,
absolutely,
you'll start to see it's wait, this stuff just you'll see it the same way, they have the vertical, the same screen that they have for
same UI. Yep.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing. But it's just left side is lower frequencies, high, that type of stuff, and you can basically just start carving your sound out and stuff like that. I'm no pro at it or anything like that, but it's something I love to experiment with.
I love how it's just information, really. At the end of the day, so it can transfer into any platform and any medium, and that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I got to name a couple other favorite apps though, real quick though.
Oh, go for it.
Go ahead.
Just a couple. Okay, for sure. Woot, the Woot plugin. I know you know about that.
Jay likes that shit.
I know you like that. I know Jay likes that one. But yeah, that one's, oh man, I put that in a lot of stuff, a lot of melodies. And then all the FAC apps, specifically the damn transient.
Oh my God.
Transient apps and his presets, FAC and Bandit and all those presets. Every FAC app basically, but Bandit and Transient, those two specifically, I use all the time, for sure. Absolutely love those.
Yeah, that FAC. Woo.
All my drums have got at least they definitely have. They either have low-fly dirt or an FAC plugin, pretty much, or both.
Have you messed with the what's that FAC? It's things like Alteza or something like that.
The reverb. I haven't actually downloaded it. I've heard it though, and it sounds. It's like a crystal, or what's the kind of reverb?
Shimmer reverb.
Shimmer reverb. Yeah, the shimmer. It's a shimmer reverb, and man, I've heard it. Doug play it. It sounds fantastic.
I love shimmer reverbs.
Sounds amazing. I haven't been able to really make them work in my production workflow for the most part.
You kind of got to side chain them.
Yeah, so it can be a little bit less in the mix because it's so huge.
Yeah. You like if you side chain them a little bit, like the way I usually use them, I'll put a compressor on it, so once it hits a certain place, it'll just kind of like shut it up or whatever. Or like I use the reverb tail, and you just same way. Like what's the app you're talking about, with the you can draw the
Flux Mini.
Yeah, so I'll use a reverb tail and just kind of like rhythmically like on and off, like, so it's like
oh cool. You can do that inside of the FAC app.
No. So
okay, but that's what you do. That's how do you process it?
That going, and then you'll have another thing after it, and then of course the iPad starts crackling and going.
You know it. After 2 apps. That's why I said, like, look, I love the iPad, but we have to be real with where it is. It's really the computing circa 2002, like early 2000s. But man, I tell you what, guys, these next couple of iPads. The next one's gonna be M1. The one after that, oh my God, close to probably to an M2. Like it's really gonna be exciting times for us. We're gonna finally maybe have some death to crackle this decade, hopefully.
I'll still be recording audio.
Well, look, dude, look how many plugins. Like when the M1, like I saw that FL Studio video where people somebody tested how many copies of what synthesizer was it? The one with every single thousands of presets, that the biggest one. I know
you're talking about the blue one.
Yeah, the blue one. It's got more presets.
Omnisphere?
Omnisphere. So they had to see how many Omnispheres they could be running on the M1, and they got up to like 100 plus.
Damn.
With like and the CPU usage was like 60%.
Damn.
I was like, wow. So that's kind of what is coming to the iPad this decade, basically. And
that shit comes to the iPad, man. I can't wait. It's over.
The next chip alone, the A14, is going to be just massive, quadruple to 8 times faster than the previous iPad in 2020 and 2018. There's going to be at least 4x to 8x at least, and then the one after that is going to be closer to the M2 that they're working on. So yeah, we're talking from just a couple years from where we are now. We're talking about 16 to 20x speed in just a couple of years, easy, and that's on the safe, conservative side. It's probably going to be higher.
The thing about it is a lot of people ask me, like, because I have 2 old iPads and one newer one, and they're always like, actually mine isn't newer anymore. That shit came out in 19, I think.
That's what I got. It's the 18.
Yeah, that's the first one with the USB-C, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So everyone was like, does it really make a difference? And it does. It really does. So imagine if I feel like that about those two, the new shits that are coming out. Like these last 2 that dropped, I wasn't falling for it. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yep. 2020 is the exact same as 2018.
I was like, I'm going to wait. But I know that the next few coming up are going to be crazy. And I'm definitely on one of them shits. I don't know which one yet.
Yeah, and the reason why there was that gap is because they were essentially working on that M1 chip. That's basically the foundation for the next 10 years of Apple computing, is this new form factor, or this new basis, which is the M1. So they had to take a few year gap there, but now all the M1 stuff has obviously been released for the desktop, and now it's coming to the iPad probably this year.
I want to pick your brain on the fucking Cubasis 2 to Cubasis 3 update. That was amazing, except for it doesn't fucking work for me still. But talk to the people about that, because you're always on Cubasis, please.
Yeah, so Cubase's recently had a 3.2 version update, and it added a couple of pretty awesome things that we've been waiting for, really. But one of the biggest things was the ability to do multi-core CPU. So that really helped for performance improvements, because before that it was, using only a single CPU code, when the iPad went multiple CPU all the way back in 2015, I think. It took a while for Cubasis and Steinberg and other people to be able to support that multi-threading, multi-processing technology. But now that was one of the big updates, so that was really good. That's going to help with performance increase. So that was a big one. And then the other one was they dropped some new Waves plugins, which was pretty awesome, because Steinberg has a relationship now with Wave. Then they're going to be releasing a bunch of different plugins exclusively to Cubasis. Personally, I wish they would do AUV3 and just make it available for everybody. But everybody's got to make their bread somehow. So Steinberg has this partnership currently with Waves, which, in my opinion, I believe that one day Waves will just make their own AUV3s. I believe one day that will end. But of course, there's contracts and stuff like that. And Steinberg is really, really big in the iOS space right now. And Waves is not. Right. So Steinberg is huge in the iOS space right now. Waves is not. So Waves is kind of taking advantage of that. So, but one day, once the ecosystem gets huge, and they'll just produce their own AUV3s. But until then, we're going to get some pretty amazing, awesome, exclusive Waves plugins. And one of those was Waves Delay, and then Waves Tune, which was their auto-tune plugin. So that was really cool. So we have like the official Waves auto-tune plugin now on Cubasis. So that was really awesome.
How's it work? Does it work well?
It works really well. It's definitely CPU intensive though. Gonna be freezing some tracks. The delay as well, the H delay. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Both of those are pretty CPU intensive.
That Waves delay is it the one with the orange interface?
Yeah, it's orange.
Yes, sir. That's the H delay.
That's the one that used to be on the it's the same one from the desktops, but they're just packaging the desktop apps. Okay.
You bet. Well, they're slightly changing them for iOS with the touch, interface, just slightly changing it. But for the most part, the same engine, absolutely.
Okay.
Mm.
Yep. So, and then finally, the update, one of the big updates was keyboard shortcuts. Oh my goodness, guys. It's been so nice to be able to just hit the space bar to hit play again. I gotta say, because like I said, I never really did a whole lot of production on the desktop. Some stuff back in, I think, Sony Vegas way back in the day, just for fun. But I remember being able to just hit the play button. Oh man, it's so nice. So I know I use it because I actually did some Macromedia Flash back in the day as well. And again, same thing. You hit the space bar and it can play. So now finally we have this back in Cubasis. Now we just hit that space bar and you can play. So that's been really, really, really awesome. That's like the number one shortcut I use. Keyboard shortcut I use is that. And the other stuff is copy and paste, which is pretty nice. Spell, just copy and paste again. I'm a keyboard and mouse guy. Like really, I love the touch, but only for the instruments and plugins. Like only for doing little tweaks and having fun with it. But for everything else, I'm a mouse and keyboard guy.
Mm.
It's crazy. Like ever since they put they gave the mouse support, like I'm like I don't think I use the I don't touch the screen. Like,
What?
Like unless it's like something where I really, really need to, but
only for scrolling usually. For scrolling, it's still pretty smooth. But like, because I can have my mouse in one hand, so I'm like moving stuff, and I'll like maybe have to scroll something over here, like presets or something real quick. But for the most part, yeah, it's always mouse. And I tell you, I had the mouse and keyboard all the way back when I had in 2017 when I was jailbreaking the iPad, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I jailbroke, so I have external storage, mouse and keyboard, all those things. And I was like, this is the future. And then realized that no app ever supports it because it's not official from Apple. So then I'm like, oh, shh. So, and then of course the jailbreaking eventually went away as well. So it became more difficult. But now to have it brought back in proper form, Files app, we have a full-on Files app file system. We have
that
the mouse.
so crucial.
We have the mouse and keyboard support now, and then the AUV3 standard and the DAWs that we have now. When you combine that all together, like we're in a different age now, and it's still early days, but we are in a different phase now. And I'm looking super forward to this phase leading to the next one, because the next one really is going to come from the power of the iPad and how fast it's going to be, and then the big companies realizing that and converting all their stuff to AUV3.
Now, let me ask you this: do you think, from a programmer's point of view, do you think it'll ever be to the point where like you can connect the hard drive to the iPad and basically stream like your audio from, like, so you know how like with a DAW on a desktop, you don't have to have that actual session on your desktop. You can have that session on a hard drive, and you don't have to copy it to your desktop in order to open it. You know, but with the iPad, you have to do that.
I think there's definitely going to be they're going to make the Files app and the external storage a lot easier to use over the next couple of iPad versions, because it is a little bit finicky like right now, a little bit buggy. But over the next but iPad OS 15 is going to fix a lot of that stuff in the file system, and there's even rumors of it being able to have a minus and a close button on every window. So you can use your mouse to close every window just like on a desktop instead of having to slide everywhere. So I think they're really going to continue to merge this desktop and iPad form factor. And really what it's going to be for Apple, I think, is the iPad is going to be easy and cheap to use. And then you're going to have all the people that are working at Sony, you know, and Marvel Studios are going to be having the big, huge desktops and laptops. But there's still a huge audience for the iPad, because again, it could be the introductory level to anything and everything, and even go beyond that as the processors get faster. So I think they're going to combine it, and I think that will be a possibility one day, Cheese, for sure. I think within this decade, for sure. Within the next few years, the iPad OS is really going to evolve quick over the next couple of iterations. You'll find from a few people that I've been talking to, and from what I've seen, the leaks that I've seen, they're just really converting the iPad into a laptop faster than you could ever imagine.
That's kind of like what I was thinking, like what was going to happen.
You bet.
Yeah, it's kind of what like when you think of it, they've been doing that shit. When we started like at 12 and 13, from now, like 17, 18 was good.
And you guys were talking about this as well, I think, on another show, where the app prices are eventually, of course, going to start to rise to meet that. Because when you have this platform that is massively fast, and this software that's multi-millions of dollars to cost to create, they're definitely going to raise that price. And so it's going to be the heyday. You know, it's just like the internet. There was the AOL days, and now we have gigabit. You know, it's just going to be the heydays. You know, it's not. People are going to think maybe the old days were a little bit better, but really, it's good. The new days are going to be better. Even though it's going to be a little bit more expensive, they're going to be way more stable, way more variety, you know, way more people are going to be releasing different versions of it. So it's just I think it's going to be a whole better time, even though it is going to cost more, closer to desktop prices. I think it's going to be a win-win for the consumer.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll be old saying, I paid $20 for Beatmaker 3.
I remember paying $20 for Beatmaker 3 back in my day.
Good too.
Absolutely. Cubase is actually $50. That's it's already kind of getting up there, but it's still way cheaper than the desktop, though.
No.
Listen, I paid $50 for Aurea Pro back in. I think it was like, right, Jay.
So I'm not even gonna lie. I call Cubases on sale, like one of those Thanksgiving or Christmas sales or something like that. So because I wasn't gonna get it, like Cubases 2 or whatever, and then I got it, and like I was like, whoa, this shit is actually pretty fucking.
Every Black Friday and Christmas they do that sale.
Yeah. Like I still haven't gotten Cubases 3 though, because I was a little like shook because I keep hearing that it's like.
It definitely had some stability. It definitely has some stability issues for sure. But again, so did Cubases too. If you guys remember back in the day, like it was really bad when it came out. It was really bad.
Cubases 2 probably for like what 2 or 3 years. I think I got it probably like 2018 or something like that.
Yeah, see, it was way stable by then. It was pretty much way stable by then. When it first came out, it was pretty bad, but it took them about a couple of years, and I figured that'll be about the same thing here.
Yeah, with 3.
A couple of years. It shouldn't be like that, really, because obviously, like, not every software application is like that. But at the end of the day, it is kind of par for the course when versions are early, like 2, 3, like we're on Cubases, when you can kind of compare them to like these desktop versions that are like 13, 14, 15. So it's I figure it's going to take a while. I figure by Cubases 4 or 5, we'll really be able to say goodbye to crackling, because the iPads will be fast enough, the software will be stable enough. So yeah. That's one thing I hate about Apple is their damn just monopoly on their storage. Like I just don't understand it for the life of me. They care so much about their products. They care so much about the design. They care so much about these certain things, and then they just rape us on storage. I don't understand how they don't take that into their consideration. I just got to believe that it's got to be where the money manager people are just holding the software developers and the creative people hostage or something. They're like, look, this is how it's been. This is how
because
it's
they know
gonna
they
be.
got us. Yeah, they're gonna keep getting
'cause-
this money because they got us. You know.
Because it's same with the M1. I mean, when did they release that shit? 16 and 32 gigs. What is this? 2000? Is this
Yeah.
2001?
Yeah.
I had 16 freaking gigs of RAM in 2000. Like that's what I'm saying. So obviously it was a lot slower RAM than the RAM that they put in the M1. But at the same time, it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah,
they really gotta get us a little bit better on the memory. But I think that's going to improve over time too. I mean, because technically it has been improving. They have been upping the storage every year, right? Every year, only by a little bit, literally one little. They slide it one little bit to the left, but at least they've been sliding it, and so that's good. I'm hoping that eventually the damn slider will get to a decent size of memory and storage. But so finally in 2018, they introduced the 1 terabyte, in 2018. And then I think they're going to do a 2 terabyte for the 2021. So.
Oh my goodness.
That's the highest, but still, at least it's an option.
But
I'll take it.
The sucky part about that is like if if you have like that thing like with the cloud thing on or whatever, like you like just if you have like the iPad and the phone or something like that, and you're like taking pictures, doing videos, you just eat that up.
It's true. It really works well for photos.
Bro.
For photos, yeah. But I find for everything else.
Yeah, I have to dump apps like off my phone like every week because it's like I get that notification. Hey,
Yeah.
Oh, forget about the phone. I can't even fit a picture on the phone.
Yeah, I gotta take a photo. It's like not enough space. I'm like, the fuck? Now I gotta go in. I gotta delete videos. I gotta delete apps. I deleted so much shit one day and went to the camera and the shit was like, yeah, not enough storage. I'm like, what the fuck? Like was I in negative storage or something like that?
It's ridiculous. I mean, with these 8, 16 gig options on these phones, it's just insane. It gets filled up instantly.
I think my shit was like a 64 or 128 or some shit like that. Like
it still gets filled up though. It's crazy because that's how big videos are.
Yeah, no, I mean between that and then like I have a ton of apps and like audio,
that's big thing.
Like because like for the longest I was using my phone, like I would just basically just make music on my phone like all the time, and so like making music, making sounds, and I'm like, oh, I like this sound. Let me record this sound, record this to audio, so I have it. So it's like all these iterations of
samples.
Sound, you know what I mean? Like I got tons and tons of shit in this phone. Like I understand why it's full, but it's like, damn, like if I could just put something in this and it's like, yo, I could just run it and I could save it from there. And I don't have to like, put it on.
Like LumaFusion lets you do that with the hard drives.
Do it? Does it?
Yeah. I plug my the orange joint. What's that? The Lacy.
Yeah.
I plug that shit in and I could run it and stream it right off of there, like and pull my stuff from. Yeah, I could pull my stuff and edit LumaFusion right there through the hard drive. As long as I don't unplug that hard drive, I'm good money. No, but also LumaFusion also downloads the shit to its app too. Yeah. Some of it, most of it. But you'll have that shit in there too.
Issues with LumaFusion that I mean it's a solution for them, but it becomes an issue like for space because like so say you're doing using video that you took with your phone or whatever, right? That the thing that's from the photo app, like you put it in there, it copies that video that
right.
Like when you chop it up and you move it around, like it's not referring back to the Photos app, it's referring back to its own internal like folder.
His own folder. God, I hated that.
And so but like that actually saved my ass like a lot of times.
Oh, really?
Because now you can delete that file from the Photos app. So
and still have it. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I got you.
So, but if you don't realize that that video now it's LumaFusion, say it was a gig, now that's 2 gigs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then like it just keeps going on and on and on. You know what I mean? But,
for sure.
Yeah. Vortex, we appreciate you coming on so much, and we love what you're doing. Shout your social medias and your pages and everything.
For sure. Yeah, really appreciate you guys having coming on. For my stuff, you can find everything I do at mobilemusicpro.com. Other than that, we do always have free sample packs. We're always releasing free sample packs as well. So if your guys' wallet is a little bit light right now, no problem. We got some free ones for you to check out as well. And of course, we have the YouTube channel where we're always releasing videos there every week, trying to help people, trying to teach people how to produce music on their iOS device. And you can find that at youtube.com/mobilemusicpro and just pretty much at Mobile Music Pro on every platform.